All right, so we've got our Aladon here. Let's zoom in. All right, so if we look at this closer, you can see that there are a couple things that aren't working. First thing is that he looks like he's kind of floating. And actually, let's make Al a lady. She looks like she's floating. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring some of this grass up. Now we could make a selection of the grass and bring it up, but if we move it around, then we'd have to kind of move that around as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of get rid of these little areas where her feet are and kind of bring the grass up on that. Now, we could do this using the eraser tool, which we can get to by pressing E here, making sure that we've got Al selected, and erase that. Or we could, but the problem with that is it's destructive. So if I ever want to see Al's feet, I would be in trouble because of that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go back down here. We've learned this little group layer here. We've learned all of these things except for these last two. And we're going to select this. Now, if you notice, this looks a lot like the quick mask, and that's because this is in fact a masking tool. With Al selected, I'm going to click over here, and now I've got this white block. What we learned from the last section here was that this white block is basically a mask. And if I go over and paint with black, I'm going to, I need to use the brush. If I paint with black, I'm going to hide the area underneath. So what we're going to do, undo that, and I'm going to go through, make my brush even closer here, about as big as a blade of grass, maybe a little bit smaller, and then I'm just going to do this. And we've got our opacity down a little bit low, so let's bring that back up. And the other thing is I want to take my brush, hardness is, and I'm going to make it just a little bit harder because we really want that to kind of stand out. And now we can make it look like Al has some grass kind of coming up over top. I'll make this just a little bit smaller, just a little bit further off. Of her feet. Very scribbly, but that's okay, because that's how grass is. It's kind of scribbly. All right. And if I click here, by holding down the Option key, you can kind of see that's the area that I am masking right there. So if we look at that compared to if I just make a duplicate, which I'm going to click here, I can hit Command J. That will duplicate a layer. And I'm going to get rid of, with the copy, I'm just going to, yeah, we got, okay. So if I were to delete that mask, you can see the difference between that and that. Really feels like Aladon there is, she's actually in the ground. All right. The next thing that we want to do is we want to work on our sense of light. We want to give Al a sense that there's some light underneath her, and that's going to cast some shadows. So we'll work with lighting next.